Morning sunlight. Step outside within the first hour of waking and look toward the sky, no sunglasses, and supposedly your entire day improves. Better sleep, better mood, better energy. This is one of the rare biohacks where the mechanism is genuinely rock solid. Your eyes contain specialized light-sensing cells that have nothing to do with actual vision. Their only job is detecting brightness and reporting it straight to a tiny cluster of neurons in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your master body clock. Morning sunlight is dramatically brighter than any indoor lighting, often 10 to 20 times brighter even on an overcast day. And hitting that clock with a strong, bright signal early in the day sets a timer that determines when melatonin, your sleep hormone, gets released roughly 14 to 16 hours later that night. Skip the outdoor light and rely only on indoor lighting, and that clock signal is weak and delayed, which is a major reason so many people struggle to feel tired at a reasonable hour. The myth worth killing is that you need to stare directly at the sun. You don't, and doing so is genuinely damaging. Ambient outdoor brightness is what your eyes are detecting, not a spotlight on the sun itself. Should you do it? Yes, this is one of the cheapest, most evidence-backed biohacks that exists. It costs nothing and takes minutes. Cold exposure. Step into a cold plunge or an icy shower for a few minutes, and your body reacts like it's facing a genuine emergency, and, in a sense, it is. Sudden cold triggers a massive spike in norepinephrine, a stress hormone and neurotransmitter that sharpens alertness and focus, which is the actual mechanism behind the sharp mental clarity people report right after getting out. Cold exposure also activates brown fat, a specialized fat tissue whose entire job is burning energy to generate heat rather than storing it. So, regular cold exposure modestly increases the amount of energy your body burns just maintaining temperature. Here's where the popular narrative runs ahead of the actual research. Cold plunges are frequently marketed as a muscle recovery tool, but several controlled studies have found that cold exposure done immediately after resistance training can actually blunt the muscle-building signal your workout just created, likely by dampening the inflammatory response your body uses to trigger repair. Should you do it? For alertness, mood, and the mental discipline of doing something uncomfortable on purpose, it holds up well. If you lift weights, save it for a separate day or several hours away from training, not immediately after. Sauna. Sit in dry heat around 170 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes, and your body responds almost like it's doing a passive cardio workout. Heat stress raises your heart rate significantly, sometimes into the same range as brisk walking, while triggering the release of heat shock proteins, molecules that help repair damaged proteins throughout your body and appear to play a genuine role in cellular resilience over time. Regular sauna use, several sessions a week over months, is associated in long-term population studies with meaningfully lower rates of cardiovascular disease and all-cause mortality, likely because the heat stress trains your blood vessels to dilate and constrict more efficiently, similar to a mechanism cardio training also improves. The myth worth addressing is that a single session is doing much of anything. The research showing real benefit comes almost entirely from consistent, repeated exposure over months, not an occasional visit. Should you do it? If you have regular access to one, several sessions a week is a legitimately well-supported long-term investment in cardiovascular health, not just a relaxation ritual. Walking after eating. A 10 to 15-minute walk right after a meal has quietly become one of the most repeated pieces of advice in the entire biohacking space, and unlike a lot of trends, the mechanism behind it is straightforward and well understood. When you eat carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises as glucose enters your bloodstream, and your muscles are one of the primary places that glucose eventually gets stored. Muscle contraction Even something as mild as walking opens up glucose transporters in muscle cells through a pathway that doesn't require insulin at all, meaning your muscles can pull sugar directly out of your bloodstream during the walk itself. That's a meaningfully different mechanism than digestion alone, and it's why post-meal walks have been shown to blunt the blood sugar spike that follows a meal more effectively than walking the same amount at some other point in the day. Blunting that spike matters because sharp, repeated glucose spikes over years are linked to worse long-term metabolic health. Should you do it? Yes. This is genuinely one of the lowest effort, highest value habits on this entire list. No equipment, no special timing beyond right after you eat, red light therapy, sit in front of a panel emitting red and near-infrared light for 10 to 20 minutes, and the claimed benefits range from better skin to faster muscle recovery to improved mood. The proposed mechanism centers on mitochondria, the energy-producing structures inside your cells, which contain a light-sensitive compound that appears to absorb red and near-infrared wavelengths and respond by increasing energy production. There's genuinely promising research here for skin specifically. Several trials show measurable improvements in skin texture and collagen production with consistent use. Where the evidence gets considerably thinner is the broader claims around muscle recovery and fat loss. The studies that exist are often small, industry-funded, or measure short-term markers rather than actual performance outcomes. Should you do it? For skin health specifically, there's a reasonable case for it if you're already inclined to spend on it. For the muscle recovery and fat loss claims plastered across every panel's marketing page, treat those with real skepticism until the research catches up to the advertising. Blue light blockers, wearing orange-tinted glasses in the evening, or switching your phone to night mode is meant to protect your sleep from screen light, and the mechanism behind it is real if somewhat overstated by the marketing around it. Blue wavelengths specifically suppress melatonin production more effectively than other colors of light, because the same light-sensing cells that anchor your body clock to morning sunlight are most sensitive to blue wavelengths specifically. Block those wavelengths in the evening and melatonin release isn't suppressed as strongly, which should, in theory, make falling asleep easier. Here's the wrinkle the blue light blocker industry doesn't advertise. The effect is real but modest, and it's dwarfed by the two bigger levers actually controlling melatonin, overall light intensity, and duration of exposure. A dim phone screen for 10 minutes matters far less than several hours in a brightly lit living room, regardless of the color of the light. Should you do it? It's a reasonable, low-cost addition to a wind-down routine, but simply dimming the lights in your home in the evening is a bigger lever than the color of your screen. Grounding. Walking barefoot on grass, sand, or soil is claimed to let your body absorb electrons from the earth that neutralize inflammation and improve well-being, and this is the biohack on the list with the shakiest mechanism by far. The core claim rests on the idea that the earth carries a slight negative electrical charge and that direct skin contact allows that charge to transfer into your body, theoretically mopping up excess free radicals. The problem is that this specific electron transfer mechanism hasn't been demonstrated with the kind of rigor the rest of the biohacks on this list have behind them, and the handful of existing studies tend to be small, poorly controlled, or funded by grounding product companies themselves. That doesn't mean walking barefoot outside does nothing. It likely delivers real benefit, just not through the electron mechanism being marketed. Barefoot walking on natural, uneven surfaces improves foot and ankle strength and proprioception, and simply being outside adds the genuine morning light exposure benefit already covered earlier. Should you do it? Walking outside barefoot is a perfectly pleasant, low-cost habit. Just credit the benefit to sunlight and foot strength, not electrons. Breathwork. Structured breathing patterns, box breathing, extended exhales, or rapid cyclic hyperventilation followed by breath holds are used to shift mental state on demand, and the mechanism runs directly through your autonomic nervous system. Slow, extended exhales specifically activate your vagus nerve, the primary channel your parasympathetic nervous system uses to calm your body down, which is why techniques emphasizing a longer exhale than inhale reliably lower heart rate and measurably reduce anxiety in controlled studies. The more intense hyperventilation style methods work through a different, almost opposite mechanism. Deliberately over-breathing drops your blood carbon dioxide level, which briefly delays your urge to breathe during a subsequent breath hold and produces the lightheaded, buzzing sensation many people report. Should you do it? For calming down before sleep or during a stressful moment, slow, exhale-focused breathing has strong, low-risk evidence behind it. The more intense hyperventilation styles carry real risk of dizziness or fainting, especially near water or while driving, and deserve considerably more caution than the calming techniques. The real takeaway? Rank these by actual evidence and a clear pattern falls out. Morning sunlight and post-meal walking sit at the top, cheap, mechanistically clear, and backed by strong research. Sauna and vagus nerve breathwork follow close behind with genuinely solid long-term data. Cold exposure and red light therapy have real mechanisms, but come with real caveats depending on exactly what you're trying to achieve. Blue light blockers and grounding round out the list as habits that likely help a little, just rarely through the specific mechanism being sold to you. None of these replace sleep, food, and training as the actual foundation. They're the small optimizations layered on top of a foundation that already has to be solid first.